My name's Adele Onyango and welcome to another episode of Legally Clueless. No, seriously, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Hello, welcome to episode 162. Thanks for rocking with this podcast, for being part of the fam. If this is your first time ever listening, welcome. Make sure you join our warm fuzzy corner of the internet on Instagram. We're at Legally Clueless Africa. That's our username as well on TikTok. And you can also, if you love Twitter, use the hashtag Ow. I'm so clumsy. Anyway, use the hashtag Legally Clueless if you're going to chit chat about the podcast on Twitter. There's links to our Insta and our TikTok in the show notes. Oh, check out our YouTube channel as well. It's pretty awesome. There are 2 new videos of our tour in Dubai, part 1 and part 2, that you really need to check out. And of course, more awesome videos. There's our video series. You will enjoy it. All right, swerving back to this episode, here's what's coming up.
So before I came to Dubai, I was doing biashara, like promotions. So I got a job in a PlayStation shop, and the guy tells me, "Are you here to drop the uniform?" And I'm like, "No, I've come for the interview." And he laughed and he said, "Didn't you get the memo?" And I was like, "What's the memo?" He said, "We only want light skins." He said, "You need to know this is Nairobi and you're a lady. You just don't get a job like that." I called my sisters who are now in Dubai. I'm like, "Hey, can you please loan me this amount? We need to pay rent." Yani I used to borrow money. Nikiingia social media, I see someone is balling on mtu. Maisha inakaiko sawa. I text them. I'm like, "Hey, can you please help me with this?" I remembered my sister wamekuwa kinipush. Come to Dubai.
That's Patricia, awesome woman we met while on tour in Dubai. And her story is coming up a little later in this episode. Let me just report myself nice and early. I do not have a song of the week this week. I don't know. I think my mood is just a bit off. And you know, if you're somebody who discovering music or listening to music is a huge part of your routine, when that gets thrown off, you're just like, what's going on? Am I okay inside? And I didn't want to just like pick a random song and share with you. And then I remembered I'd gotten a DM from someone who listens to the podcast. And they were like, "Hey, I've just discovered your podcast. I've gone through a bunch of episodes. And here's a song that I think you might like." And then I can't find the DM. And I think it was a French song. And I'm really in like my French song zone. I'll find it I'll find that message, man, before the next episode. Fingers crossed. All right, so since there's no song, before we jump into 100 African stories, I wanted to share 2 things. The first one is something I'm learning and have been learning for the last couple of weeks, which is the importance of solitude. I do not think I have heard myself this clearly in a very long time. I attribute that to just like not being around people and just intentionally trying to be comfortable with being solo. I think sometimes we fill up our spaces with noise. One, maybe because we are too scared of disconnecting, too scared of what we'll find, too scared of being, alone with our thoughts and our demons. Or maybe it's based on things that we've experienced in our past that makes us fear solitude. But honestly, all of those things are true. Like the having to face your thoughts and your demons, that's true. But I'm hearing myself. I was telling one of my therapists that the last time I heard myself this clearly was just before my mom died. And I had really filled my life with like a lot of noise. Sometimes when I say noise, it's so easy to point out socially labeled bad noise. Okay, so for example, if my noise was me constantly going clubbing or like to the bar drinking or etc., it would have been very easy to point that out because it would be like, what's happening with this chick? It's a bit too much and it's out there and you can see it. But sometimes the noise is socially acceptable, so it's very hard to pick out that it's noise unless you get very uncomfortable, you as the person. I think the latter was the case for me. So now I'm like finding my voice. I'm remembering the things I loved. I'm setting up boundaries. Hey, that one is a tricky one. I've low-key been thinking, I need to do an episode on boundaries and just like how do you set up boundaries. It is not easy. And even, but I don't know, that will come in another episode. But back to the solitude thing, it's silent enough for me to even hear what I'm still carrying from the past, and the one thing that kind of does for me is that honestly, by confronting these things, I can only truly be unlocking a more conscious, a more powerful version of myself. So on the days where I'm a bit, to the point where I can't even like figure out a song of the week, I think that's where I go, where I'm just like, babe, this is going to birth a very powerful version of you. So like, just kind of push through it. That's one. I don't know if that message speaks to you. Maybe this is your sign to just intentionally disconnect and in doing so reconnect with yourself. But the second thing I wanted to share was just what I've learned is I'm going to be a bit more open in my relationships, relationships with the people I care about. And this I've been thinking about maybe just today because it only occurred to me yesterday, and I had a very long conversation with somebody who's super close to me. And at a point, the conversation got very heated because I opened up about something. Now, I run away from any sign of conflict. I'm just like, count me out. I'll never defend myself, never share my side of things. Nah. I just want there to be no... Please just get used to my sound effects. But we were able to like have such a beautiful conversation, even though in the bits where I felt like, is this conflict? I wanted to just like run, but I stuck it through. And, the end of the heated bits, they told me that they're always in my corner and they'll always have my back, which I think for them in that moment was just like, I mean, they definitely mean it, but I don't think even I knew how badly I needed to hear that. Because sometimes when you're like disconnecting, what I've found that I've also done is like I've boarded up and locked out quite a few people. And I don't know if it almost happened like subconsciously, like just like kicked people out. Then when you kick them out, you automatically think nobody's there for you, nobody's in your corner, and you're like, you know what, that's just how it is, And hearing these words it was like a hug. Have you ever had those really bad days and you just need a hug? It was a hug I never knew I needed. I think for me now, it's just I'm not going to always, every time like you talk to your friend, be like, hey, I love you. Or maybe I will, I don't know. But like just to be very open about my feelings. One, because I don't know if that's the kindness that this person I care about needs to hear in that moment. And two, even when my feelings are like, hey, you do this and this is how it affects me, be able to share that and also be able to receive that from others. That last bit I am still working on. And I just wanted to share those two things. That's where I'm at this week. Anyway, let's jump into 100 African stories. As I said earlier, this story is from our tour in Dubai, which was absolutely fantastic. And we got to meet this brilliant young lady with awesome energy. Her name is Patricia. And I'm so touched because she took time from her hectic schedule. Let me tell you, if you're sitting here thinking that your friends or family who are in Dubai are just like living it up, having a good time, most people work some very crazy shifts that are just hard to comprehend. So when she took time off of work to come to us so that we could record her, I really value that. And Dennis, whose story you had episode before last, he did the same. Like, I really, really appreciate that they did that for us. And Patricia's story is really around the grit needed in hustling. And of course, this is part 1. Part 2 will come out in next week's episode. 100 African stories on Legally Clueless. Stories from Africa.
I'm Patricia. I'm from Kenya, Nairobi, Thika. I come from a family of 5. I'm the 4th born. We are 4 girls and then 1 boy. So me ndio baby girl, the smallest. So before I came to Dubai, at first I was staying with my mom after high school. And then I was doing biashara hapa na pale, like promotions. I used to get my friend telling me, please come and stay with me at my mom's place, her workplace. And at the end of the day, she will give us like 200 bob and tell us, sini yenyu ya lunch. So it used to excite us because iyo pesa too, it's just buying tops, clothes, keeping up credit. And then when the real things started hitting, like you need to get a job, when you find the people you used to go to school with, wameanza kufanya kazi, some of them are in school. So that's when you decide, okay, I need to find a job. So I got a job in a PlayStation shop. I used to sell snacks like hot dogs, smokies, coffee. And later on, I took the business and it was mine. But it didn't last that long, but it was worth it. I came out knowing how to make samosas. So I used to make samosas from home and I come and sell them there. I used to make yogurt. I used to make like juice. So, and that was in 2016. And then after that, so the guy who had employed me, venye ilifika mali akaniambia, by the way, I'll have to give up the business. That's when I took over. And then after like a few months, when he saw, okay, she's doing good. So he said, I need the space. I need to put 1 more PlayStation. So I said, okay, I'll just hand it over to him. I'll find something else to do. And that's when I started focusing on the promotions, the gigs. I used to go promote for DJs. Like we go to the club, we were doing some silly requests. You just go to the table, people are drunk. And when they see a young lady at an hour approach and you're dancing with them, and then you say, if you want me to request a song from the DJ, just write it down and we'll take it. It was fun, it was nice, but again it stopped. And at that time I was dating someone who was comfortable with me being home and he was providing. When I was staying with him, once in a while napata promotions to go and do promotions, but he wasn't comfortable with it because I used to work during the night and you're working in a club and all that. But at least we used to have something like some top up for the rent. If I need money to do something, I don't need to keep on asking all the time. And then one day we were reporting to work and these guys told us, unfortunately for now, we have to take an agency to recruit you guys. We can't just keep on calling you and you just appear and then you come with your friend. We need like an agency. So I will recommend you go to this building and then you do the interview. If you pass, we'll continue taking you. So we go there and the guy tells me, are you here to drop the uniform? And I'm like, no, I've come for the interview. And he laughed like on my face and he said, didn't you get the memo? And I was like, what's the memo? He said, we only want light skins. Yeah, like he told it to my face and I was like, what? He said, yeah, we only want light skins and someone who has like a nice body, if you understand what I mean. And in my head I'm like, no, because I used to be tiny. When he told me that, I was like, no way. So I called my friend. I told her, you know what, these people, they say they want only light skins. And she said, no, don't worry, we'll find another company. So she recommended me to some guy. I went for the interview. And in Kenya, like it's so hard to get a job, especially if you're a lady and you don't have like a background, because I don't have any background, like nimesomea kitu fulani, nothing. So I went and the guy was like, so the only job I could get at that time was only promotion jobs. So he told me, yeah, I will take you, but he didn't like ask so many questions. But umefanya what kind of promotions? Because I went with like a list. I've done this, I was working with this company, and people knew if you're working for this promotion like Heineken, they know, okay, this lady's wako, like they're high class, you have chances. So he didn't ask me all those questions. And then he said, so after here, where are you going? I said, I'm going home. He said, can you wait for me outside? I said, yeah. So I was waiting, thinking maybe he'll give me an answer. And then I just got tired. It was almost, I'm waiting there almost 2 hours. And then he calls me, he tells me, I think you didn't really need this job. I asked him why. He was like, because I told you to wait for me and you went. And I was like, were you supposed to give me an answer that I'm hired or not? Or what do you mean? I don't get it. He said, you need to know this is Nairobi and you're a lady. You just don't get a job like that. And I was so shocked. In the bus, in the matatu, I was just going like, so what does he mean like when he says that? So I asked my friend, what does this guy mean? And she said, Patricia, you need to cheer up. This is Nairobi. Like, if you want something, you need to give something. You just can't get a job like that. And that's the moment I just gave up. I said, you know what? I'm not looking for any job. I'm not even trying. If I get a job, fine. If I don't get a job, it's okay. I went home. I told my boyfriend at that time that this is what's happening. This is what I was told. And akaniambia, I don't know why you're stressing yourself to get a job, because at the end of the day, he used to get paid and he will bring all the money home. So I will pay all the bills, I will do the shopping, and then he will just take a certain amount of money and do his stuff. And then we continued like that. He was into music, and it came a point his music career was his music was not going as he wanted. So akaanza kufeel ni kama he's focusing so much on work than focusing on his music. So he started kidogo drifting from work. Of course, someone, if you're working for someone, they will feel like you're not serious about job. And he will start giving him like, mbono ukuji kazi, why are you not doing this? And he got pissed off and he said, you know what, I resign. I quit. And in my mind, I'm like, you can't be serious. Hello, we are staying in a house. It was a bed sitter ile unaambiangwa ati ukirusha mguu hivi unagonga sufuria. It was small, but at least we had a roof on our head. We had a place to sleep. It was our home. Like, I felt this is our home and I'm not ready to give it up. So I went back to the streets. I started looking for promos. I got here and there a few gigs and all that. And I was a go-getter. So maybe anything I see, this one I can sell it. If I see like a lip balm like this one, I'll be like, what if I just buy like 20 lip balms? Niuze kila lip balm kama ikwa market ni 100 bob. I can just do it for 80. 80 is fine, and I know people will get it. Will buy because it's cheaper. But biashara haikubaliani na mimi. So I called my sisters who are now in Dubai. I'm like, hey, can you please loan me this amount? We need to pay rent. We need to do this. He used to go at attempts to work. He used to work in his dad's farm. So we somehow managed. And then I said, you know what? I need to challenge myself. From bed sitter, Patricia akasema we go to one bedroom. A one bedroom, first of all, bed sitter imetushinda. We used to be like, rent is overdue. Tunafungiwa mlango, but the caretaker was our friend. So he used to open the door for us. And then at 6:30, before 7, we used to wake up, go inside the washroom, or just, you stay in bed, don't move. Because our agents wanakuja. And they used to knock the door. Ama wanafungua dirisha wanaangalia wanasema, walikuja. Yani used to be so humiliating, but nikasema, you know what? As much as we could not manage to pay the bed sitter, I'll challenge myself and we go to a one bedroom. And the moment we moved to a one bedroom, I got a job offer to sell suits. And so I went for the interview with these guys and they were paying me. They told me, we will only pay you 4K. And I was like, 4,000. Can you make it at least 5,000? Because, or at least 6,000. And they said, no, you have, it's either you take it or leave it. So I was like, okay. And so, and then they said, you know what, tutakuongezea tu your 1,000. It'd be 5,000. And since I didn't have a choice, nikasema, what to do, let me just take it. But 2 days later, I got another call from one lady and she told me, Patricia, you are looking for a job. So my friend, she has a utensil shop. She used to import things from Dubai. And when I hear Dubai, I just remember my sisters, na ile life wanaishi, as I thought. Nikasema, this one I have to go because it seems legit. So I went and she told me 10,000. I said, 10,000? Yes, I take it. Like this is twice the salary I'm getting from these guys. And it was 2 days later. Hata sijapata mshahara yangu yako. So I went to this lady's shop and she was telling me how the shop is doing well, which everyone was telling me there, but things were super expensive. Like, I've never seen a plate. You buy 4 plates, 7K. As in, I was like, 7,000. Even when clients come or customers come to buy, I'm not confident to promote it. Because I'm like, ata mimi nikiambiwa 7,000, I will not even buy it. So why do I need to convince someone to buy 7,000? So someone will tell me, how much is the plates? I'm like, it's a bit expensive. It's 10K. Some people will feel offended because they're like, what do you take me for? Some people are like, yeah, it's expensive. I mean, to start discussing. And then akienda ndio niko like, oh, that was a customer, by the way. Sikuwa nikubaliane naye ati it's so expensive. You can actually go to River Road and you'll find the same plate, not the same quality, but the same plates. You'll find even better and you'll have so many options. And it's cheaper. Utalipa tu 200, you go to Nairobi and you come back, you haven't even spent more than 3,000. Job ikaendelea tu hivyo, and then she had to close the shop because there's no sales. People are saying it's expensive. She's paying rent, very expensive and all that. But the only good thing I came out from that place with, first of all, it's her. She was amazing. She was so lovely. And I met someone who was like a father, like a brother, like an uncle. Hata sijui how I can explain it. So 5 months later, I contact this guy. I'm like, by the way, I was just going through my wallet. Nikono, your name says you're working in a particular place and you're high end, like when mtu mkubwa in that company. So I was thinking, can you help me like get a loan? And was like, yeah, just come to my office and we'll discuss it. Nilikuwa like, okay, this guy no. But let me try my chance. I hope he doesn't want anything else apart from just to help me, because I honestly need someone who can take me out of this misery because ilikuwa too much. We are staying in a 1 bedroom, tumekatiwa stima, maji. So nyumba ni mnangoja Sunday, sasa zenye kiateka yuko around, anavuta pipe all the way from ground floor to 6th floor uko juu. So pipe inapita hivi, watu wanashindwa pipe inaenda wapi. And then they see you slaying, unatoka wanakuangalia zile za hivi hata hamna maji kweli. You know, so it was so embarrassing to a point nikasema let me just take my chances, because already on this other side nimeomba mom do. I think mom, I registered her to all the applications in Kenya za kukopa pesa. I used to tell her, oh mom, nimeona another advertisement, kuna hii application, can you please try uoneka watakupatia? And then she'll tell me, oh, wamenipatia loan. Okay, wamepatia how much? 5,000. So we'll share 2,500 and then I will pay later on end month, nitalipa na interest. And she's like, okay, mshwari. Mama, mshwari wanakupatia pesa. I used to like press her kila wakati, and then when she tells me, you know, your sister amenitumia pesa, and I'm like, oh, amekutumia pesa ngapi? Yani I used to borrow money. Nikiingia social media, I see someone is balling on mtu, maisha inakaiko sawa, I text them, I'm like, hey, can you please help me with this? Yani it was that bad. At the end of the day, my boyfriend then, he knew I'm hustling, as in nomba watu pesa, but he didn't know how serious it was. Juu he will just ask his family and they will give. It will be a struggle, yes. Juu anaona, huyu ni mwanaume, you have a lady staying with you, so you need to like jua venye utafanya. Get yourself together and mjua life anyway it's going. And this is 2 years later of me staying home, as in na hustle hapa na pale, napata pesa kidogo kidogo, and then sina kazi, sina timali. I'm waking up at 8. I have a 8 to 5 p.m. job. I don't have. So we let go of the house. We go stay with the in-laws. We stay with the in-laws. It's nice. It's a nice house, nini. But at first, the first few months, you feel it's okay because every now and then nilikuwa natoka kidogo, naenda to places. My sisters nawapigia simu wananitumia katao. At least ukiwa na 1,000, urudi nyumbani na mkate ama sukari, wanaona at least she's doing something. And then I think we stayed there for almost 1 year. So I was talking about this guy I met. So I went to the bank and he told me, I was checking your bank account. You've taken a few loans and you've paid. Because that time I took ya kununua the other biashara in the PS shop. And he said, yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you get a loan, but what do you want to do? So me and my sister, we came up with this idea. Aliniambia, I most of the time people ask me if I can, because she used to sell toys for kids in birthday parties, my firstborn sister. And she said, so I'm thinking we comboa a bouncing castle, and then I'll be renting it out. So you take it from people, wanakupatiana 2K, you rent it out at 3K, you have 1,000. It's enough at that time because ulipi rent, you're not doing anything. So when this guy told me I'll give you a loan, what do you want to do? The first thing that came to my mind was I'll buy a bouncing castle. Mimi, I've never been in a bouncing castle. Leave alone kwanza kuimanage. Hata you don't know inekengo hewa wapi. So he told me, so you want to buy the bouncing castle and the pump? And I'm like, what pump? And the guy's looking at me, do you even know what you're getting yourself into? He said, so you have to buy the bouncing castle and the pump. So it's like Niana and educate, and it's my proposal. So he told me, Patricia, are you serious? You don't even know what you're getting. I said, you know what? Honestly, it's my sister's idea, but I'm into it. And he told me, just because unaka, you're so confident, and I don't know why, my heart inataka tu kukusaidia. You just look like a legit person, so I will give you the money. So we got the bouncing castle, we send it to Mombasa. Nani anaishi Mombasa? We send it to Mombasa. Bouncing castle, ata ask me today, what was the color of that bouncing? I don't even know. So my sister sends it to Mombasa, and I'm like, okay, iko Mombasa, haina shida. So what's the next project? Tutakomboa trampoline. Sure, no problem. We took the trampoline. On the other hand, bouncing castle iko tu uko, mimi ninaambiwa iko na shimo. Sawa basi, wewe tunafaa kulipa pesa ngapi? Mi hata that biashara, I don't know how it went. As in, mi hata venye nililipa that loan, half of the loan, I don't know. But it was going well because every week they used to give us like a 5K. That's better. And tunajua every week iko inafanya kazi. Iwe inafanya kazi, haifanyi kazi, they used to give us that money. So we get a trampoline. We said, you know what? Hii trampoline tuko nayo hapa. Do you know how to put it together? Jumi nilikuwa nadhani trampoline inakuzemekelo kwa gari. Ni circle. You just need to get it out, wekele, and then people just start jumping and money is coming. So imekuja, I see rubber, I see some metal, some thingies, and I'm like, ini? I just like, there's a trampoline. Okay, so what do we do? Tukenda some place they used to have chicken in, KFC, and Sunday, of course, after church, they go there. Tukasema, you know what, let's take a risk. Tuende tuyeke kwa parking lot ya wenyewe. So we went to the parking. Tukaieka. Tukakutana security, tukamwambia, mwenye building tunamjua, tushongea naye, ametupatia ruhusa. And he was like, do you have a license to work? Like, Kanjo akikuja, what will you do? And the first thing that came to my mind ni Kanjo venye ninaonanga Nairobi wakikimbiza watu, how do we start kutuanisha hii kitu? Mimi nikasema tutaibeba hivyo na so we pack it, tukaanza kupata watu, mtoto mmoja, wawili, ikafika mahali my sis has, but then she had three kids. So tulikuwa tunarusha watu hapo, at least watu wanaiko active. Watu wasione tu trampoline wanashindo ile, it's a decoration ama at least wanaiko active. So watu wako hapo tu wameruka, mam nimechoka, wewe endelea kuruka. Yani it was so funny. Ikafika mahali tukasema nini, unajua nini, watu wamechoka, tuanze kuruka. And you were like, juu watu wanakuwa wamechoka, I think we can start jumping. Ndio alafu nikwambia bedhe tunaweza attract watu wakubwa. Watu bado wako na ile utoto ndani yao. But in my mind najua it's impossible because it's an open place. Hii side barabara watu wanapita, the other place watu wameketi wanakula. But I said, unajua nini Patricia? You have to do it. As in at times, forget about the embarrassment. We have fun. So we started jumping. The next minute, kitu na fly. I'm like, okay. Kuangalia trampoline, it's ni one of the strings ya kushikilia hii pande na hii pande imetoka. And I said, you know what, God? I give up. Isi biashara yangu. As in, after a month or two, I started seeing someone putting a bouncing castle there. As in, my idea, someone has already taken it, na me make a biashara out of it. And so this person, he went through the right process, of course. Ali approached mwenye building, he proposed that he can put the bouncing castle there. So na mimi nikasema, you know what, I'll be aggressive, hata mimi nitaenda ku approach mwenye building. Akaniambia you have to rent the place for a month. And he told me you have to rent it for like, it was like 30K ama 20K. Mimi kwa akili niko like, yeah, we can do that. But in my mind I'm like, but sure you don't even have 1,000 bob. Mimi napita tu hapo naona watu wakula chicken niko kai aki watu wako na life, a soft life. But I told him, yeah, I will do it. Just give me one Sunday, nieke bouncing castle ama trampoline, I see how it goes. Akaniambia, you cannot put the same thing that this person is putting. You have to put something different. Nikamwambia, okay, sawa. So I told my sister to tafute something different. So we found a bouncing castle iko na slide. So hiyo ni different. Watoto wana jump akichoka wanaanza kuslide. So I told him it's different, but at some point it wasn't for us. It didn't go well. So kidogo I started selling clothes. Mimi nikarudi tu bank. Kula rafiki yangu nikamwambia bouncing castle iende venye nilikuwa na expect. But I need another loan. And this guy was like, but sure, you're not serious. You haven't even finished the other one. I told him, believe you me, itaenda vizuri. As in, I know it will work. I can just pay half of what is remaining and then we'll see what I can do. So I paid half. He gave me another loan. Nikaenda Gikomba. Nikaangalia bill, if I can buy bill, ama ninaamka asubuhi naenda kutafuta camera, which one will work for me. Mi nimelelewa Thika, nimeishi. As in, I don't know Nairobi that much. Nikasema, I'll just take a bill. I cannot be able ati ninaamka kila siku naenda Gikomba. Na that day I remember nilikuwa nimekalia kiti hapa mwisho ninaenda tu nikiangalia cause niliambiwa one particular name ushukie hapo. I took the whole bill. I was posting, I was telling my friends about it before I bought it. And everyone was like, yeah, nunua the bill, tutakam tutachagua nini. The guy who was selling the bill to me, zile picha alikuwa ananionyesha najua easy. Hata sitamaliza 1 week. I used to tell my mom, so nikiuza jacket moja like 250, I finished the bill, I have like 100k. Nambia mami amtaniweza. So I bought the bill. Wacha bill ikuje. Me, I think I was fighting with every single person from mwenye aliyekewa kwa matatu yake ikuje to the last person who was standing in front. My boyfriend, I was like, ini nini? Cause kufungua bill zimekunjana. Me, I didn't know it's like that. Ati unafaa utoanishe, uifue ama uipige pasi ndio ikae vizuri. Mimi ninaangalia koti imekunjana. Some of them don't have buttons. Some of them ziko na shimo. Ingine iko na rangi different. And I'm like, God, I swear I was so stressed. Alafu, venye ilikuwa imefungwa inakanika si nyingi. Wacha nifungue, it's like 250 pieces. Nikasema sasa hizi zote tu kuongea ukweli napeleka wapi? Mind you, I'm staying with my in-laws. I don't have a store. So nitazieka wapi? And then I had a dog. Ilikuwa inakuja inalala hapo, inakojoleza koti, nikasema sasa hii ni madharau. This is legit madharau. Like, there's no respect even for my business. Hata ishajua, there's patusha hapa pesa, tukubali pesa imeenda. So, nikangangana, nikasema either way, I'll just put my head up. I will tafuta a few jackets. If I have to sell them double to my budget, ni sawa, nitauza. Whoever will buy. Because a few pieces and by then nikakuwa sayo ndio I think betting ilikuwa imeingia. People are used to bet. Nikasema let me try my luck. So I started doing betting. I used to bet this one for seconds. Yenye una bet 50 bob inakuletea 1000. Una bet 50 bob inakuletea 200. So I started getting into that. So ile pesa ninalipo ya koti, I'm betting on this money. At times uta lose, at times you will pata something. And this one day nearly bet, I started with 2k. Nearly bet and it was like 60k in my account. And I'm like, you know what? Yani, I think hizi biashara zingine, it's not me. Me, I think I was born to just bet. So I went, nilikuwa na kasimu kingine ulikuwa ukitoa ikipigwa inazima. Mtu akishakata simu ukiwasha tena iko 100%. So I used to have this phone, I used to nikibet nimekaa karibu na socket. There's a comment that went by that time and someone said, watu wako na maisha mzuri, they just sit down the whole day on their phones. They don't know bills. They don't even go to church. I think they're waiting for their church to be built, you know. There are some small comments that people say, una feel like wanakuattack. But because you're going through that thing, they're not maybe saying it in a bad way. But of course you'll feel some type of way. So nikasema, hii pesa nimepata, I'm going to buy myself a phone. That was my second phone I ever bought for myself. Nilikuwa na kamoja zile Nokia za kwati nini. So I went and bought a phone and I said, juu hii biashara ya kubet, I think it's me. Hizi biashara zingine bouncing castle, nguo, chakula, yani I've tried everything. So nikasema, betting is my thing. And I'm not harming anyone. I'm not even leaving the house to go somewhere. So I used to be like, at night, my boyfriend is sleeping na mimi niko hapo kwa simu. Yani nilikuwa nakakaa kijana. I bet. So hiyo siku nikaamka nikasema acha ninunue simu because I'll focus on that. I bought a phone. I paid some loan. I paid some amount of money kwa ile loan nilikuwa nimechukua. And then kidogo I think the stress was piling up pole. There's a day I got so sick. Nilikuwa for the first time I went to the hospital and my mom venye alikuja hosi ikafika bill time ya kulipa bill. Mind you nimekuwa mgonjwa so I've been rushed to hospital. It wasn't even planned or anything. So nimeenda hosi, my mom comes, someone asked her juu ilifika point ya kulipa bill and she said she was asked, "Mom, hauna pesa ya kutop up?" And my mom was like, "I didn't even take anything. I just came." Looking at her legs, she was wearing one red slippers, the other one was green. Akasema mi hata I didn't take out my wallet, I didn't take any, hata simu ni bahati. But even in my pesa, I don't have anything. Cause I've never had Patricia ati amekuja hosi. I've never had. So when they did some tests, they found out my ulcers were reacting to some infection. So the combination was getting worse. And the fact that my mom didn't have enough money to pay for the bill, I also didn't have. But we managed to buy a few medicines. Nilienda home, hiyo kitu ilinisumbua. And I said, you know what? I think it's time I do something. I remembered my sister wamekuwa kini push, come to Dubai. But I was like, I have a life. I can't just, we have a life planned with this person. We have a future. It's been almost 4 years, 5 years almost. We've been dating. We have a life. We've built a life. I'm staying with your parents, so it means there's something. So I can't just wake up and go. But I said, you know what, let me try him and see if he wants also to come with me to Dubai. So I talked to him, I'm like, I think we should just go to Dubai. We've tried everything. You've tried your music. You've done collabos with a celeb and he can't even promote your music. So let's just go to Dubai. Make money, come back home. You can focus on your music. I can focus on I'm planning to open a hotel or a restaurant one day. But we just go, make money and come back. Because me naona sistangu wana ball. And if you ask her for 3K, she sends without kungangana. So I told him, let's do some research. And then we can see what we can do. Hata we can go and stay together. So I text my sister namwambia, nataka kuja Dubai. But I was hesitant because like a week ago nilikuwa nimemwambia nitumie do. Aniambia mimi sina pesa, nimesota. So I'm thinking if I tell her about nataka kuja Dubai, she will spend more than 60K or 100K. Because she used to tell me, kama nataka kuja, you'll spend 100K plus. So I said, let me just try. Nikamtext nikamwambia, I want to come to Dubai now. I think I'm ready. And it didn't take her a week to process my visa, to get me a ticket. And they told me, so you'll be coming on this and this day. Mimi nakaa hivi niko like, wow. I think this is it. As in, sikuwa nadhani to be that fast. I thought she will tell me, wait 2 months, 3 months. But at that point, nilikuwa nishaamua, come rain, come sunshine. If he wants to come with me, fine. But he agreed. He said, tutaenda naye Dubai. You talk to your family, I'll talk to my family. The mom was in for the idea. She was like, yeah, we can do it. You can go to Dubai. So we plan everything. Akaniambia wendanga, I will come and all that. And I think that was the last stroll for this relationship journey and all that. So me, I come to Dubai. Niko excited. Mimi nishapanda ndege. Mimi sister yangu ameniachilia pale ati this terminal sijui 1 hapa ndio departure. Mimi na kasuitcase kangu kamoja. First of all, sijui ninafaa kwenda left, right, sijui. Everyone looks busy. People are having envelopes on their hand. Mimi sina anything. As in, documents zangu zote ziko ndani ya suitcase. So I said, let me get the envelope. At least hata mimi nikae ni kama pia ninajua kwenye ninaenda. So I approached the security. Hi, said ya kwenda Dubai. Dubai ama Emirates, United Emirates, sijui what. Niko, Dubai. And I'm Dubai, it's a city. Where are you going? Nikamwambia Dubai. As in mimi naenda Dubai. Cause mimi najua Dubai, that's a country. Ananiambia UAE. Nikamwambia I think. Mimi labda ningejipata niko sijui nimetupwa. Nikamwambia ni sawa. Dubai ni the same. Akaniambia ni kama Nairobi, si Kenya, Nairobi. So you're going to UAE? Nikamwambia So she told me just follow this path. I think she was having a rough day. Jumi si expect mtu anafanya airport with that unfair. So me I walk, I go, nika check in, all that process. At that time roho yangu ilikuwa inapiga. I'm like, did you make the right decision? As in, did you just leave home? Hata kupatiwa kazi Nairobi, I used to fear, nona, hapana siwezi fanya kazi Nairobi. As in, nitoke Thika. That's where I've been born and raised. Sa alafu saini nona nenda kupanda ndege to go to a different country. It was exciting, overwhelming. And then I remember my sister's son, hiyo siku nikienda sijui alikuwa anaona huyu hata yenda mahali huyu. So that day when I was leaving, he saw my suitcase and he stood there like in shock. He didn't even hug me. Ninamhug namwambia, Daddy, come and hug me. He doesn't want to hug me. And then it started going through my mind. I'm like, did I make the right decision? I've left this person back home who I'm calling my boyfriend. Long distance relationships don't work. So should I go back? Ama niendelee tu. And then I said, let me just see. Let me try. Mind you, I'm not coming direct to start work. I'm coming to tarmac. So me I come, sistangu ananiambia, uko wapi? So tutaanza kununua metro card, tutaenda kutafuta line. So ndakuchukulia cause hiyo ndio iko na tourist nini. And I'm like, why is she talking like that? Akiwa maisha yao ilienda vizuri. She's talking like someone who's, unaona wale watu ukienda kwa aunties wako na pesa, alafu you check your family how things are done. Yani it was culture shock. So she comes, she picks me up, and how was the flight? I'm like, yeah, it was fine. Nimechoka. It was July, and the moment she saw me, she said, yani watu wametoka Kenya ni washamba. Why you wearing a jacket? And I'm like, what? Why you wearing sneak? I was wearing a jacket. And inside the airport, I'm a metro, it's always, the AC is always like high. So kuna baridi. Akaniambia, hata sijui tutenda choo, you change and wear something free. Tukienda kutoka airport. The moment we came out of the door, me almost fainted. The heat. I was like, no. I came back and she was laughing because she knows everyone who's coming to Dubai for the first time, especially during that time summer, they get that heat wanna feel. Mimi nilisikia ni kama nimerushwa ndani ya oven.
Catch more African stories in the next episode of Legally Clueless. You have to love how Patricia just like weaves in humor into a story. Honestly, the bit about the trampoline and like these things flying and making her sister's kids just jump even when they're tired is like, keep going. We're running a business here. Oh my goodness, that really got me. But I love how she just always has her eye on the bigger picture. That's something I'm taking out of her story. And honestly, from the stories we recorded in Dubai, one thing that, I don't know, just made me feel some type of way, broke my heart a little, is just how Kenya can break your spirit. And it's just, honestly, it's bad leadership. It's nothing difficult to fix. It's just we've constantly had selfish, bad leaders who don't center people, which is something to think about as we are inching closer to our general elections. But I don't want to bore you with all that because I can go on and on and on about the leadership we have versus the leadership we deserve. But here's what you can expect in part 2 of Patricia's story that will be out next week in episode 163.
Tukienda kutoka airport. The moment we came out of the door, me almost fainted. The heat. Mind you, Mimi CV, I don't even know what the CV is saying. First of all, people lie on their CVs, like completely. He asked me, are you sure everything that is on this CV is legit? I'm like, yeah. And this guy told me, are you sure you're a waitress? Before you even enter the shop, they're like, no Africans. COVID happened. So they told us, we're going to give you like a 2 months unpaid leave. She was looking at me like, what? You got a job? As who? What kind of a job did you get? I'm like, I'm going to be a maid. And she's looking at me like, are you serious? I told my friends, I'm going to work as a house help, considering you're coming from a 5-star hotel. So when I came to Dubai, I don't know why people have this perspective that if you're in Dubai and you're making it and they see you going out, they see you, she's posted a photo, she's in a restaurant. People have this perspective that you're dating an older man. She has someone, she's cheating on me with someone who has money.
That's a bit of what's coming up in part 2 of Patricia's story next week in episode 163. Of course, our audio episodes, if this is your first time listening, go out every single Monday. If you want to share your story on Legally Clueless, you are more than welcome. I don't know why I sang that. or that. Anyway, all you have to do in the show notes is fill out the Google form. There's a form, just fill it out and I will get back to you. However, there are quite a few people who I got back to who seem not to check their emails. Come on. Check your emails. Yeah, so just make sure when you fill out the form, you fill in an email address that you actually check so that we don't miss each other. And another thing, do not forget that this podcast plays on Trace Radio every Monday and Wednesday at 1 p.m. and 11 p.m. and Friday at 1 p.m. And that's, of course, if you're in Kenya. So if maybe you travel or you want to share this podcast with people who like to listen to radio the old school way, just go to traceradio.co.ke. There's a list of all of the frequencies dependent on where in Kenya you are, and you can tune in and catch the podcast there. Thank you so much for listening to the very end. I wish you could see my face while I'm recording this. I had a late night shoot and it was like a concept shoot based on a particular Kenyan tribe. So dudes, I have a lot of things painted on my face. It's probably going to take me like an hour to just get everything off of my face. I think there's even like glue on my neck. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Yes, I need to go, and hopefully by next week when I'm recording the next episode, I'll be done cleaning my face because there's just so much on it. But I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this podcast to the very end, and for all the warm energy that you sent my way on our Instagram page, on my Instagram page. I do not take it for granted when you listen to a podcast episode and you can hear I'm in need of some good energy and you send that my way. I really don't take that for granted, because it's already amazing that you're listening to the podcast. But when you go a step further and like connect with me or just share some good energy with me, I do not want to cry. So let me just end this here. That's it for this episode of Legally Clueless. You can share this podcast with your friends. You can keep it for yourself. I'm not judging. Just make sure you're here next week for the next episode.